so that I know where to start the conversation with my potential new customers. So like, I'll give you an example, in the legal space. If I'm coming into Atlanta as a divorce lawyer, and if I'm coming into Atlanta as a personal injury lawyer, I'm going to have two completely different strategies because the landscape is different. Like personal injury lawyers here in Atlanta, like I had one person come from out of town and they were like, oh, like there must be a lot of accidents here. And I'm like, why? They're like, because literally every other billboard is a personal injury lawyer. And I was like, no. Like, so obviously I would tell somebody in Atlanta, if you're going to get started as a personal injury lawyer, like don't start with billboards. It's already too saturated.
Yeah.
But maybe in another state, I might not say the same thing. I might say something different. I might say, you know what? There are 0 personal injury lawyers advertising.
Sit back and relax and get ready for another exclusive episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast with Lopez.
This episode is brought to you by the best AI software online called Goody. That's Goody. Goody will help you create all content for your blogs, websites, newsletters, articles, ads, and even pictures, LinkedIn posts, Twitter, you name it. All you got to do is go to lopezthesane.com/Goody. That's Goody. And the best part about Goody is absolutely free. That's right. It's free for the first 7 days. You can cancel at any time. Goody will help you create all your contents for your blogs and websites online. And it's 100% absolutely free, full access for the first 7 days. All you got to do, just go to my website. That's lopezthesane.com/Goody. That's Goody. Or just click the link in the show notes and get started today. Welcome to another episode of the Online Marketing Secrets Podcast. I'm your host, Lopez. So like and share this episode. And P.S. by the way, any questions, any concerns, feel free to send any of your questions to the link below, which is support@kingofcashflowwebsites.com. That's support@kingofcashflowwebsites.com, or just click the link below. And I really appreciate it if you would leave me a 5-star review in iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere where you're listening to the show. So with that being said, today I have another special guest. I know I always say that, but today I really have a special guest because she's been in the marketing world for over 25 years. She's been doing this for a long time. She's worked with some of the biggest brands in the world, like NBC Universal, Columbia, Comcast, Nielsen. And today she specializes in helping law firms with their marketing, helping them scale their businesses, finding out what really works for them. And she has a proven track record of helping businesses succeed. She's also a speaker, a trainer, and soon to be author. My special guest today is Margarita Eberline. Welcome to the show. So, where you from?
I'm originally from California, but I say that I'm from California with Mexican parts because my family's from Mexico.
Oh, nice. So how'd you get started in the marketing world?
Well, way back when I was in high school, I wanted to be a journalist. And I ended up having a really amazing opportunity when I was going to Berkeley for my undergrad to join NBC in Los Angeles as a intern. And so I got to explore the creative, the journalistic, and the sales piece. And I actually fell in love with the sales piece and the research piece. So that was really how I started. And then from there, I ended up going to the Nielsen company, working there for a little while, had my own agency, full service agency for a while. And now I have this business, which is the CMO firm.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because you've been doing this for a long time. You got started when the internet wasn't so popular.
Right.
Yeah, people thought the internet was a scam, that it was a fad, that it wasn't going to last.
Yeah, over 25 years ago, if you can believe it, is when I started my marketing career. What was that? 1997.
Yeah.
Forever ago. So
yeah,
been a while.
Yeah. So how was working at a company like Nielsen, and how was it working at those companies like back in the day?
It was very intimidating for me because I obviously was, a minority in the company. And so culturally, it was a huge culture shock. I was part of a management rotation program there. And so that was when, I don't know if you remember, the book Outfoxed came out. And It was a very controversial time where people were questioning for the first time the Nielsen data. And not to go on a tangent, but basically this was a big moment in media history, really, because Nielsen had always captured their data in a passive, or not a passive, in an active way. So they had like diaries. Okay. So think about you writing down every single thing that you've watched, and then think about human nature, right? Sometimes we write down what we want people to think we watched and not what we really watched. Yeah. And so it was over the air TV and it was the diaries. Well, then comes cable, then comes passive monitoring, and everybody went nuts because now, in my mind, this is totally my opinion, but it's also data. The data was more accurate because now if I told you that I watched 3.5 Men, but what I really watched and the monitor on my TV captures that what I really watched was Days of Our Lives or something else, you can't make that up. Like, it's passive data. And so the sampling changed and people were starting to question the quality of the data. And, as always, sometimes they bring race into it. Like, minorities are underrepresented in your sampling. And I did see some of that. And so now I'm like one of the few minorities that they're like trying to recruit into the company to bring in another perspective. And it was a culture shock for me because I felt like I was an outsider coming into like an old boys network in a sense. Yeah. That where they were trying to make a change. I still remember Susan White was a CEO and female CEO of a big media company, and she was trying to do things, better, which is why she launched this program. But it was still very rough. Like, I remember just, going around the table and everybody's talking about where they went to school, and it was like Florida State and like colleges that I'd never heard of. I mean, Florida State I've heard of, but like, you know what I mean? Like just random colleges. And I'm like, I had to go to Berkeley to get here. Like, like what's going on? Like all the, and my dad works in radio, or my uncle, and it just was so intimidating. That was what I remember the most about it, because I was a young professional trying to build a career in media, and I get plugged into this amazing opportunity that's also like a cold splash of water of get out, you don't belong here. But also at the same time, we need a token Hispanic.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my perspective of what that was like. So
yeah. I had a job. I worked. My first job, I guess you could say, in the digital space was at an ad agency, and it was kind of like that. I got hired as a copywriter. At least that's what I thought at the time. But they really wanted me there for like more data, because they didn't really have. They said, "Hey, we need a person." Well, when I came in there after 6 months, I realized that I think somebody, one of my coworkers, pulled me to the side and said, "Hey, do you know why they really hired you?" I said, well, not really. And he's like, they really hired you because they needed more information from people of color. And I said, oh, okay.
Boy.
You know, I said, because we don't really have anyone else in here to give us any insights about how to promote to those other markets and groups of people. So that's why they really hired you. I said, oh, okay, that's nice to know, you know.
I respect it, you know. I respect the effort, but it wasn't easy. I mean, I had a similar experience, you know, working at on a film called Spanglish. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but that was one of my first jobs out of college. And it was an amazing opportunity. The producer that hired me is a Latina, and she's very big in media on the production side and agency side. And she gave me this awesome opportunity. But I remember being in rooms where it was just, I was the most fully bilingual person in the room. And the movie was called Spanglish. Like they were trying to create like a Spanish, English, like multicultural type project. The director was Jewish. And so I'm consulting, giving feedback. And because I'm sassy, I still remember he made a comment like, oh my gosh, it's like having two people because you're bilingual. And I'm like, well, can I get paid double? And he's like, no. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. It's a win is a win. It was a good opportunity. It was a good experience. And but I just learned from all those opportunities, especially back then, because I was very new. I didn't really know how the business went. And plus the guy that really taught me, he retired. Plus he was an older guy at the time. So he ended up retiring, and he told me, hey, he said, you'll be fine. You probably have to figure out some things or whatever. And I ended up taking a job at that agency, and it was a different experience versus just working with him. It's like a group thing, and everything has to be pre-approved, and things move slow, and so I already knew probably within the first 6 months, I said, I'm probably not going to be here very long. I probably take it for what it's worth.
Yeah. I said, I probably will end up in a space just like I'm doing right now. Eventually.
Yeah. But they're great learning opportunities. Like I'm really grateful. I learned a lot. And again, at the end of the day, I respect the effort that these big companies were making to be more inclusive, to get more of a diverse perspective, to connect with different audiences. And it's awesome. And the privilege that I see in being a minority is we learn how to be chameleons, and we learn how to connect with and enjoy different people and different cultures. Yeah. I still remember being in New York with one of my colleagues, and I'm in a sorority, a Latina sorority. And I remember I connected with a bunch of, other Hispanic women in New York that were in my sorority. And I, told my colleague, and I'm like, hey, why don't you come out with us? Without thinking that she'd be the only white girl at this party that we were going to, where we were going to go out and just hang out. In my mind, it didn't register that it'd be an issue. And so, because I'm so used to always being the minority. And so, she got really tense, and I was like, are you okay? Do you need something? Was your drink not okay? And she was like, I feel really uncomfortable. And I'm like, why? Did somebody do something? I'm over here, being protective and thinking something was really wrong. And she's like, no, it's just I'm the only white person here. And I was like, oh, that's all right. I'm the only Mexican usually wherever we go. And she was like, yeah, but I'm white, I shouldn't have to feel like this. And I was like, okay. But she was not having a good time. And I'm like, meanwhile, I went to Tulum last year, the year before, and it was with all Black accountants and attorneys. And it was me, and I'm over there having a blast, dancing hip hop, dancing to Mexican music. I had a blast, and I'm like, wow, how beautiful. And one of my friends pointed this out. He was like, it's cool that no matter where you are, you're comfortable. And I'm like, it's just, I'm so used to being very comfortable, even when I guess I'm not around people that are like me, that I just have a good time. And that's kind of cool, right? To have that. I think To me, that's the blessing and that's the perk in that. Anyway, I don't know how we got into a conversation on.
No, I think you're just comfortable in your own skin. That's all.
Yeah. But not only that, but I enjoy other cultures. Like I have such a diverse group of friends, and I eat everything, and I'm just so open. And to me, that's fun. And I feel bad, like the story that I told you was not to be critical of that girl, but I was like, oh, how sad. Like, you can't enjoy yourself. Yeah. Like, because not everybody looks like you. Like, that's kind of sad. Yeah. Like, you're missing out, like.
Yeah, but I think just having that mindset, that makes you a better marketer, makes you a better communicator. That makes you, it's much easier for you to relate and empathize and have compassion for other people at the same time.
So as a marketer, I think one of my superpowers is that I go deeper and I hit emotion. A lot of people think that marketing and sales is about convincing people with the catchy message, but I understand that the common thread that we all have is we want to feel good and we want to have peace. And so I always get at the emotion, whether I'm running a campaign for a civil rights attorney that's targeting African Americans, with police brutality issues, or a campaign for a personal injury lawyer that wants to target Mexican day laborers. I understand that I can adapt the messaging to the ethnicity, right? To the avatar. But really what I'm trying to do is create a emotional connection and build trust with the messaging. At the end of the day, that's what I'm trying to do. And so what I've discovered, and this is one of the reasons why I'm a CMO and no longer in the agency space, is that you do that not just with the top level marketing, but you do that with the entire journey. So as a CMO, I get to focus on, you have the ad, you have the campaign, but then what happens after? How do you treat that customer when they call your office? How do you communicate with them once they're a client? How do you remarket to them if they don't decide to hire you right away? So I get to get into all those spaces as a CMO, and it's all about that fundamental thing, the happiness feeling, the relaxation feeling, okay, this is exactly what I need, that they get me feeling. And that, like you said, I think part of it is, me being flexible and open and connecting with different cultures, but it's being able to go deeper and see what's fundamentally similar across every single culture.
Yeah, I agree 100%, So most people that I know of that's been in the marketing world as long as you, a lot of them have gotten out. So what made you stay in and just kept going?
I'm a child abuse survivor and a glutton for punishment, I think. I don't know. I just love data and I love the business owners. Honestly, the reason that I've stayed in this space is that I really have wonderful relationships with my clients, and even people that are no longer my clients, I care about them as people. And that's what keeps me going. Like, I love the feeling of the business owner comes to me and they've got this hot mess in their marketing, and then they get this relief from having things untangled, having things work more smoothly, things be more predictable. And I love that. I love giving them that. I think business owners deserve that. And I'm a first generation entrepreneur. My parents were immigrants, and I'm still trying to figure out, certain things in my business. And a lot of the business owners that I work with, they're also first generation entrepreneurs, and they deserve better ROI from their marketing, and that's what I'm passionate about. And again, one of the reasons why I'm a CMO, because when I had an agency and when I was in the marketing space that most people are in, you get so caught up on providing the service, right? You own a digital ads company, and what you provide is digital ads, and it's just so linear. And it's hit or miss. Sometimes it works. Sometimes the digital ads are what you need. Sometimes the TV ads are what you need. What's frustrating and what makes it not so fun is when your client needs something else, but that's not a service that you offer. That's not something that you can solve. Like, I remember when I sold TV, like, I wanted to run for the hills because people would buy TV ads from me and they would run, and the ads were perfect. The messaging was great. Everything was great. but the conversions or the clients weren't coming through the doors because they didn't have a good website, they didn't have a social media presence, they weren't really easy to find on Google. They had all these missing pieces that I couldn't address with my service, you know, and that's what led me to launch the agency. I was like, maybe if I have a full service agency where I can do everything, I can do this. But even then I tapped out. And so it becomes like a kind of a hell, really, if you're the kind of person that really wants to help people grow their businesses. It's such torture to not have the full bandwidth of resources and services that the client needs, and even just teams. Like, one of my issues with my owning an agency that it couldn't settle in my spirit was, you know, I can have the best possible team and it's not going to be the right fit for every single business. And I won't know that until they've given me money and I've spent time, and it's a waste for everybody. And now as a CMO, I don't have that problem. As a CMO, I can go into any business and say, all right, you like to work like this. I'm going to hook you up with this vendor. You need an in-house person. I'm going to put an in-house person and create a process and train them. Now I get to do it that way. And that's why I love it, because I'm no longer limited by what tortured me about it, which was the results piece. It's really hard to give people results, to give people growth without a robust 360 approach. And it's nearly impossible to have a comprehensive, effective 360 approach if you own an agency and if you only focus on one tactic. It's so hard. And as a CMO, I get to do it. And it's fun and I love it.
Yeah, I can imagine with things changing so fast and social media started to be like commercialized and
exactly.
Yeah.
My aha moment when I knew that the agency business was not quite right for me was when a really awesome attorney that I still work with today had a conversation with me and my agency, and at the time I had 2 other partners. And he said, I want to get on this TikTok thing. It looks like it's going to, you know, really blow up. And I want to get on this TikTok thing. How can we make videos for TikTok? I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. I've been reading a lot about it too. And I think it is going to be a great opportunity for you. And like, I got kicked under the table and I'm like, they're like, you know, giving me the eye, right? And I'm like, okay. So then we debrief like as an agency, and the conversation was, we can't sell that as a video service because our team is designed and structured to make more long form video or like TV ads, like high quality production. We don't have the capability or the team, and it would take us way too long to like build one just for one client to give this person that service. Let's convince him to do something else instead. And that just didn't feel right. I was like I understood the point as a business owner, right? I can't sell something that I don't do. That's not good business. So I respected the feedback, but I was like, this just isn't right. There has to be a better way to pivot, to adapt, to give clients exactly what they need and not ever be married to a specific tactic or even a process in marketing. I want to be free to just plug in whatever needs to be plugged in, whoever needs to be plugged in into the scenario to get the client results. Because like you just said, things change so fast. I remember growing law firms with Facebook just by posting once a week and creating blog content and circulating it on social media, and that brought in clients. If I try to do that today, that's useless. I can train somebody in how I did that. And there's what's crazy is there's consulting agencies out there that are saying, oh, we have a magic formula for how to grow your law firm. You just have to do this, this, and this, and this. We did it 10 years ago and it worked. And we're making 7 figures, 8 figures, whatever. And I'm just like, bruh, like, can you stop? Like, stop selling. And people buy it. People pay, oh, take my money. And I'm just like over here watching this like, I know you're buying because they're telling you what you want to hear, but you're wasting your money. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. And I'm just like, you know, please stop.
Yeah. Things have gotten a little bit better since I came online. When I first came online, people were selling anything. It didn't really matter. Yeah, but they can't get away with it as much as they used to. Yeah, I mean, it used to be like people didn't even have to see your face. You could be behind a website. They could like they could have a good launch, a product or whatever it is. people don't know how you look. They would sell thousands of copies, and if they get too many complaints, they might get a knock at the door or something like that. But there wasn't no standards back in the day.
I mean, that's true. That it has gotten harder, and people are getting wiser about vetting out, like, I'm going to call them, like just ineffective vendors, I guess, or services. But it's still like, I still see it all the time. Yeah. A lot of business owners come to me with what I've coined as marketing PTSD, where they're like, oh, ads don't work, or Google ads don't work. And then they start to tell me like how they were sold that they had to invest a minimum of $30,000 on Google, and they had to buy these keywords only. And I'm just like, no, they work. Like, whoever sold this to you just did it wrong. And now you think it doesn't work. And now you're spending money on, I don't know, billboards or radio, hoping that's going to bring you customers, when this other thing that really does work, just give it another chance, And so I call it marketing PTSD, because there's vendors out there selling whatever they can sell, taking people's money, doing it wrong. And then these poor business owners are like, man, like, I spent all my money on all the wrong things. That tactic must not work. But it's not always the tactic. Sometimes it's just the vendor. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I have a friend that's like that. He's a mechanic. They have 2 shops, and I think he found some agency to help them with Google AdWords and just a blog. And he said he pays them $15,000 a month. And I said, what do they really do? He said, why they just... I said, how many phone calls you got from the ads that they posted?
Customers walking in the door.
Yeah, he said he doesn't know. I said, oh God.
If you're listening, you can track that. You can use a tracking phone number to know exactly how many calls.
So he said he doesn't know, and then he said he wants to launch a 3rd location, and he said he wanted to create a street sign. And he wanted the dual launch of the 3rd location, basically. And I was like, I don't want to get involved in that. I just don't want to be involved in that, because I know he feels obligated to still keep working with that agency, because he knows somebody over there. So I said, I don't know. I don't want to be involved with that.
That's the other thing. And I know this is a double-edged sword. Like, a lot of people work with me because they like me and they trust me. So I don't want to be a hypocrite and say, don't work with people just because you like and trust them. But I kind of do, because you need evidence, you need accountability, you need some sort of logical, these are the sales and this is the marketing and this is how they're connected. To me, that's fundamental. Why would you give anybody your money if they're not showing you ROI, or at least a KPI, which stands for key performance indicator, that you can logically say that's connected to the how many customers I get. So like, I'll give you an example. We all know anecdotally that if you have a strong presence on Google My Business, people will Google you, look at your Google My Business, and call you from there, right? Yeah. So if I can show you that I'm getting you more Google reviews and I'm getting you more traffic to your Google My Business, that's a KPI that I can safely assume is going to contribute to getting you more clients. Like, it's data that you can't argue with. So at least that. If I'm running your social media, I need to at least be able to show you that I'm getting you more visibility.
Yeah. So why did you decide to focus on law, working with attorneys?
So the attorney life chose me. I don't know. Okay. I was pre-law as an undergrad, and I think personality-wise, I communicate well with attorneys. I'm very logical. I have a dry, dark sense of humor. They seem to be into that. So there's a lot of compatibility there. But there is a logical sequence of events that did occur and how I ended up working and niching down with attorneys. And by the way, I do work with non-attorney businesses. Like, I work with dentists, spas, and all that. It's just my niche. So because a lot of what I do really does apply to any business. I was working with TV And this was when the Obama administration made some changes with immigration and made it possible for people to apply for different immigration benefits that weren't available. And the marching orders I got from my then boss was go after immigration attorneys. This is a great time for them to advertise on Spanish language TV. I was working for Telemundo at the time. And that was how I started working with attorneys in advertising and marketing. And I'm like, I really like these guys. Like, they're great to work with. We communicate well. And I started to really learn about the legal space and the ROI with the marketing and the customer experience, because I'm very observant, so I would observe how they would run the ads and their website and how all that was connected. And so I'd have these passive conversations of, hey, thanks for advertising on TV, but I was thinking you should be posting on Facebook, and you should be maybe making sure that you're all current in all the directories. Like, have you done that yet? Because those things help. Because when people see your TV ad, they're going to go Google you, and whatever shows up, that's what's going to help them call you. And I would have these conversations with them just in passing. And so then I decided to leave TV. I decided TV is not for me. I'm not going to get into that story, but really it was just not a fit. I felt like I couldn't do enough for clients is really what it was. And so I decided to leave TV, and a lot of these attorneys that I had spoken to and non-attorneys too, that I repped as a AE on TV, they were like, hey, what are you doing now? And I'm like, I have no idea. I got to figure out my life, because I just know this is not a fit. And I'm the kind of person that if I know something's not a fit, I'm not going to milk the company for however long until I find another job. That's just not ethically something that I'm willing to do. So as soon as I knew this was not for me, I let them know. I put in my notice. I left. No plan, no job, no nothing. And I remember these people reaching out to me. Hey, let's go have a coffee. Let's go have dinner. I want to pick your brain. You've given me really good advice. And a couple of them were like, can you consult? Can you help me with my marketing part-time? And that was how I started freelancing, mostly with attorneys and consulting. And then that led me to my agency, which, since I already had that foundation of attorneys, I kept going with attorneys. I did a lot of work for non-attorneys, and I found that the attorneys were just my favorite to work with. I understood their business really well, and they felt comfortable with me, and they were easier to retain as clients for a lot longer. And so that was really how I ended up just niching down into attorneys. Yeah.
A lot of attorneys need help.
They spend a lot of money. They get targeted a lot too by people that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I assume that attorneys, just like doctors, I assume that they knew how to promote themselves. I just assumed that. And until I met like 2 or 3 attorneys, because I used to live in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta for 11 years.
Okay.
And I said, I thought y'all knew how to, promote yourself, because this one guy, he started a new law practice. He said, no, I don't know how to do it. No, he said, when you go to law school, they just teach you basic stuff. They don't really teach you how to promote yourself, how to market yourself. He said, no, he said, they don't even teach you how to be a good attorney. I'm like, really? He said, no. He said, you have to learn how to be a good attorney. He said, law school is just the basics. I said, I didn't know that. So the law, that's a good niche. I agree 100%.
Yeah. And a lot of them are good guys and girls that, are good women and men that really want to help people. And I don't want them stressing or getting taken advantage of. And don't get me wrong, a lot of attorneys are smart, and they do know how to market themselves to a certain point because they know how to sell. And visually, they know how they need to be presented. Yeah. But it gets muddy when it's like they think they know what they're doing. So they start buying things. They start buying billboards, TV, whatever. They start buying things, especially when they see their competition is buying things. Like, one thing that happens in the personal injury space is a lot of attorneys do unethical things to get cases. Like, they buy cases, they get paid tow truck drivers to get leads, and they do all kinds of dirty things. Then they have to show like their marketing. So they'll spend money on stupid stuff that's really visible, but that doesn't really work. Yeah. And it's a front.
Yeah.
And so then you have these people that are like, oh, I'm an attorney like that attorney. That's what they're doing. Let me go and copy that. And it's like,
Yeah, but I said I was asking, how do you know it's working over there?
Like, what they don't know is some of these attorneys that dump money into this, I'm going to call it vanity marketing, just to be seen, they're not really monetizing it. And they're not doing it for the leads because they're getting the leads some other way. It's almost like laundering money and you have a storefront.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to talk about, I've never talked about this on a podcast, but I'm like, we all know this happens.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, this is why you need to have somebody that actually know, like, if you're a legitimate attorney wanting to make money the right way, I'm going to call it the right way, the legal way, without going into the gray area, you need to be really cautious with where you invest your money. And you have to be very smart about having a good blend of lead generation with things like Google Ads and stuff like that, and branding with things like billboards and TV. You can't just throw a bunch of money at like TV, radio, and billboards and expect to get those results. Like, just think about it. How do you buy things? Do you go buy a billboard and be like, oh, I'm going to save that guy's number in case I ever get in an accident? No one buys like that.
No.
You have a problem and you're in your bed at 11 o'clock at night on your phone researching a solution to your problem on
the internet. Google.
Yeah, the internet. Google, more specifically.
Yeah.
So it's logical that if you run an ad that shows up as people are looking for what you do, that's the shortest distance between you and a lead. Like, to me, it's just logic. Yeah. Does it help to do all the... Absolutely. Yeah. If I'm in the middle of the night looking for somebody, I don't know, a divorce lawyer or whatnot, and I remember, oh, you know what? I saw their billboard. Yeah, I'm going to call them, and I'm probably going to have more trust because I saw their billboard. I saw their TV ad. I heard them on the radio. Now I'm starting to remember all the stuff in my subconscious as I was driving down 85, right? You remember 85, or whatever highway you're in your city. But yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, I mean, I did this. Like, for example, I needed a plumber last week, and I went to Google. I Googled the plumber in a plumber in my area
near me,
and a plumber near me, right? And a couple places popped up, and I said, oh, that might be cool. I'll call this one, call that one, and then I said, who do I know that might know a plumber? So that's how I usually do it.
Exactly. And that's another thing that people forget about marketing. Your customer experience that you provide is also part of your marketing. The way you treat your customers is also part of your marketing.
Yeah.
I just wrote a book called Connect Convert, and it's for sales for law firms. It's going to be out in a couple of weeks, I think, or maybe 3 weeks, or maybe a month. I don't know. I got to talk to my publisher because they keep changing it on me. But the first chapter is about marketing, because chapter 1 is your marketing, your reputation have to be solid. You cannot compensate with a sales strategy if your marketing is not like aligned and your customer service is not aligned. You can't say to somebody, we're the best law firm, this is why you should hire us, and then you have a bunch of 1-star Google reviews and everybody's mad at you on the internet. Like, that's not gonna work as smoothly as you would like. It's all related. It's the customer journey is what I call it. The customer journey is also part of your marketing. How do you treat people? And how do people feel after they've worked with you? And that gives you visibility, positive visibility online, and referrals. Referrals are also marketing. Networking is also marketing. People forget about that too. They're like, oh, I don't market. Oh yeah, do you go to networking events? Yeah, okay. That's marketing.
Yeah.
Passing out your business card? That's marketing.
Yeah.
All connected.
Yeah. So, I guess if you had to start all over today, I mean, how would you get started? Would you take the same path? No, you probably wouldn't take the same path, but how would you get started? Because I know you probably meet people and they probably say, hey, how do I get in this space? How do I get started? So what would you do anything differently?
Like in marketing or just in my career in general, or?
Just marketing.
In marketing, if I had to start from scratch, like a business from scratch.
Yeah.
It just depends on the business. So for me, step 1 is always do research. I got to know what landscape I'm coming into so that I know where to start the conversation with my potential new customer. So like, I'll give you an example, in the legal space, if I'm coming into Atlanta as a divorce lawyer, and if I'm coming into Atlanta as a personal injury lawyer, I'm going to have two completely different strategies because the landscape is different. Like personal injury lawyers here in Atlanta, like I had one person come from out of town and they were like, oh, like there must be a lot of accidents here. And I'm like, why? They're like, because literally every other billboard is a personal injury lawyer. And I was like, no. Like, so obviously I would tell somebody in Atlanta, if you're going to get started as a personal injury lawyer, like don't start with billboards. It's already too saturated.
Yeah.
But maybe in another state, I might not say the same thing. I might say something different. I might say, you know what? There are 0 personal injury lawyers advertising on billboards. Like maybe that can be a part of your mix. Billboards and some digital ads, and that combo can work. You have to do research is basically my point. I wish I could tell you there's a magic bullet, and I get that question a lot, but I got to tell you the truth. I'm not into snake oil marketing. So
yeah. I mean, I think that there's enough of that online today.
But it's what the people want. That's what's frustrating. I mean, not to complain. Maybe I'm venting a little bit, but I meet with so many law firms, and they come and they talk to me and they ask me questions like, what do I need to do to grow my business? And I'm like, first we have to do some research. First we have to do this. That takes work. Here's my contract. Like, oh, well, I'm going to think about it. And then next thing I know, they go with some consultant that told them, oh yeah, you got to spend this percentage on this percentage on this. This is a magic formula. And I know that doesn't work, but they go by that instead. When I'm over here telling you the truth, like that's not logical. That's not how it works. This is what you need. This is how it works. But they want to buy the easy thing. They want to buy the lie. They want to buy into the lie. And it's so frustrating to me. I'm like, I'm over here looking out for you, telling you the truth, but you're going to go buy the liar.
It happens. It happens a lot.
I don't understand. And again, I'm not complaining. I'm like venting a little bit, but it's like, you know, it's a good lesson for me. But you know what? I sleep well at night. And like I said, I take pride in that I have really good relationships with all of my clients. I can't think of one client that if I ran into them on the street, at least a Marketing Boss client, the agency, like I said, was a whole other circus. I can't think of one client from my time with Marketing Boss that if I ran into them on the street, I wouldn't want to give them a hug, fist pump, something, you know, because we're cool, because the relationship was always transparent. You knew what you were getting, you know, we were looking out for you. And I take great pride in that. I can't say the same about my season as an agency owner. It got bad as an agency owner because, like I said, and it wasn't me and it wasn't the people. It was just that business model to me is just flawed, you know?
Yeah. I've heard about it. You know, I've been around it a little bit. It's been a long time, but yeah. So I guess who do you usually work with? Is it startups? Is it businesses that are established, or who? I mean, I guess in a perfect world, who do you usually work with?
My ideal customer, I'll answer it that way. My ideal customer is a law firm owner that has a really good service, really good reputation, and that wants to move above and beyond referral business and wants to either start advertising, like advertising as we know it, you know, with ads, with a better website, with a brand and all of that. But that has the risk tolerance to invest, because in order for us to do our job correctly, we need time to develop things like, you know, messaging that's different. You know, if you tell me right now, come up with a slogan for my law firm, I can come up with one in like 5 minutes, but really I need like a couple months to like really get to know you, to really connect with you, to really immerse myself in your brand. And if you don't have the budget to afford a CMO for like 6 months because you need leads yesterday, that's probably not the best fit for me. Like I look for law firms that have risk tolerance and can actually invest and have the time and the patience to build things out properly. That is an ideal client for me. And sometimes it's somebody that's starting to market for the first time. And sometimes it's somebody that's been advertising and they just want to optimize. Those are also really good clients for us. So those are the clients that they're spending millions of dollars on marketing and they just need somebody to help them optimize, restructure, create a better customer journey and step it up a little bit. Those are awesome customers to work with. So size wise, you know, marketing budget, you're looking at I don't know, in the millions to 100,000 a year or something like that, for marketing is on the low end, is what we work with. But yeah, I love to help lawyers that have a cause too, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if people wanted to work with you, where would they go to?
I love social media. So I would say if you really want to work with me and understand what you're going to get, follow me on Instagram and Facebook and all that. And then, of course, if you're ready to book a consultation, we've got our website. You can go get to it through my name, margaritaeberline.com. You can also go to marketing-boss.com. It'll take you to our website and you can book a consultation. We do a free discovery call as our initial thing, and we'll go through what's going on with your business, diagnose a couple of things, and give you some action items. So at minimum, you'll have things that you can do to improve your marketing like that day. And then we can also discuss our different packages and all that if it looks like your company's ready for a CMO. So, and we have an app too. You can download our free app. You can go to Google or the Play Store and just put Marketing Boss and you'll see our app. And there's a ton of free resources on there already, including courses and things like that you can take if you're wanting to start a business. There's also things that you can buy. So you can actually buy sales courses, video making courses, and a bunch of different things that you can buy in the app, and super low cost. So they're ideal for more of the startups.
There you have it. Like, share this episode. All links will be found in the show notes. Until next time, we're out. Peace.
Awesome.